Hey Apex Agents, it's Mobius here with another video for Mass Effect Andromeda's multiplayer. So today's another two-part character build guide, and today we're taking a look at the uncommon grade Turian Soldier. Excuse me, I almost said Human Soldier again. The Turian Soldier is very similar to the Human Soldier, but there are definitely some differences. Not just in how you allocate your skill points, or how you can allocate your skill points, I should say, but also how this character can be played. The only difference in terms of the skill tree is that instead of concussive shot, the Turian Soldier gets fortify, which is a power that you simply activate and then you leave on, and you have to reactivate it every time you are down to get back up, and it offers you additional passive bonuses. But it can also be changed so that it can be used in an active manner where you can do something called an explosive purge and actually do damage around you, blah, blah, blah. But that's not how this particular character build works. This build that I'm going over is actually fairly strong, both offensively and defensively, so it's a very newbie-friendly kind of character build because it gives you a lot of tankiness, a lot of survivability if you're playing your cards right, and it pretty much maximizes the amount of weapon damage you can do with this character. So if you have a half-decent gun, you can equip it on this character, and as I said, it's very, very, very survivable. It can be very tanky, so it can be very, very noob friendly. So newer players who manage to unlock this guy fairly soon and can start leveling him up, it's actually a pretty beneficial character to level up early. Because, as I said, it can be very extremely beneficial. So the 5 skills we're looking at, as I said, we've got Fortify, which is the difference from the Human Soldier in terms of the skill tree. We've still got Turbocharge, we've still got Frag Grenade, and the 2 passives are Munitions Training and Combat Fitness. So in terms of leveling order, it's largely up to you. If you want to start improving on your offense first with this build, you want to level up both your Munitions Training and your Turbocharge first, probably Turbocharge before Munitions Training. But if you want to maximize your tankiness first, you'll want to level up both your Combat Fitness and your Fortify power before doing Turbocharge and Munitions Training. So let's go into detail my picks for leveling this character up, starting with Fortify. Initially, I did not like this power. I did not like this character largely because of this power, because by default, when you activate Fortify, you only get 40 points of damage resistance, and you get a movement speed penalty. It doesn't say how much in this instance. It's about, what the heck was it? I think it's about 35% movement speed penalty, and you get a 25% sprint speed penalty, something like that. It doesn't quite say right now because of the rank 4 pick that I chose. But the extra passive damage resistance is kind of nice. At rank 2, you get a bonus recharge speed. This is if you're constantly turning it off and turning it on. At rank 3, you get another plus 10 damage resistance. So that's a total of 50 points of damage resistance. That'll reduce all incoming damage by 1/4. And now at rank 4, I chose the mobility upgrade. This reduces the movement speed penalty and the sprint speed penalty. So it actually reduces the sprint speed penalty down to 0%, and the movement speed penalty, it says it reduces it down to 25%, but here in rank 1 it says it's down to 20%. So you get a lot of your movement back, and that is way, way more important in my opinion than this plus 20 damage resistance, especially if you see my picks later on. There's other ways to get more damage resistance with this character, depending on how you spec it out. This mobility is really, really crucial, in my opinion. I hate being slow. That's largely why, for a long time, I hated this character, is because I just felt so slow with him. And having this mobility upgrade at rank 4 helps big time. Rank 5 is kind of personal preference. You've got this shield feedback option, which gives you a better shield regen bonus, and the delay reduction for health and shield regen delay is reduced by another 40%. But I quite like this power armor upgrade, which gives you 20% gun accuracy and gun stability bonuses, as well as 30% additional melee damage. The melee damage doesn't matter so much, but a pseudo-passive accuracy and stability bonus to the gun on a weapon platform is great. This really helps your capabilities in maintaining a steady stream of headshots with whatever gun you're using. And then at rank 6, you've got the extremely fun explosive purge, obviously, but I went with the unmoving defense. Now, a lot of people are probably screaming, "You're an idiot" right now for me saying this, but I'll explain why later. This gives you an additional 10 points of damage resistance accumulated per second, up to a maximum of another 50. So on top of the 50 points of damage resistance you get just from having fortification on, if you stand still for 5 seconds, you'll have another 50 points. So this will reduce all incoming damage by 100 points of damage resistance, so about half. You'll take about half damage. So if you sit still for long enough, you will be a lot tougher to take down. So turbocharge, this is your active offensive skill. This should look very familiar. Rank 4, I took recharge speed as usual with the Human Soldier, plus 20% recharge speed. I like that over the higher duration. Rank 5 damage and force, extra gun damage and gun force bonuses. You don't really need the extra gun accuracy and stability on turbocharge as an active power, because you already get some from fortification, and you can also get some from one of the passives that we'll look at later. And at rank 6 turbocharge, plus 20% rate of fire, even faster, even more DACA basically, and plus 20% clip size bonus. So maximizing the damage you can do with turbocharge in as short the time span as possible. Turbocharge is your go-to. I need to kill this sub boss, or I need to take off as much health from this boss as quickly as possible. You've probably seen this several times by now. We're not going to go into detail. Frag grenade. I left it at 1 point. In order to maximize the offensive gun capabilities as well as the defensive tankiness capabilities, I had to sacrifice something, and I sacrificed the extremely useful frag grenade, but you will still find this a handy thing to chuck. You only get the 1 frag grenade, but it does pretty decent damage over a 6-meter radius, so it's extremely handy still. Munitions training. So this gives you plus 5% weapon damage at rank 1. Rank 2, plus 20% power damage. That doesn't really matter. It pretty much just increases the damage of your grenade. Rank 3, plus 5% weapon damage, plus 10% weapon weight capacity, and plus 20% melee damage. So you get additional weapon damage and weapon weight capacity, allowing you to carry bigger guns into the game. Rank 4, you get weapon training, plus 8% weapon damage. Definitely pick that over powers and melee. You don't really need more grenades when you're only carrying, when you are not maximizing the use of your grenades, and you're not making a melee character, so there's no real need to increase your melee damage. Rank 5 weapon efficiency, plus 50% weapon reload speed, plus 25% weapon clip size. That one's huge. And plus 20% weapon spare ammo. That's just another little handy thing to have. Improving the capabilities of your gun, basically. Just, helping you be able to put more bullets downrange. And at rank 6, this is largely personal preference. This precision choice for plus 20% weapon headshot or weak point bonus, but you also get plus 25% weapon accuracy and weapon stability. Combine that with the accuracy and stability, bonuses from fortification being active. That makes this guy able to use any gun in the game and just spray bullets and still be not just accurate, but stable. There won't be much kick on even something like a Revenant or a Sonet or something like that. So you can carry a really big, a really heavy machine gun kind of weapon on this guy if you pick this option. Rank 6, I like the debuff effect of the sustained fire choice. This gives you 2% debuff per shot and a maximum defense debuff of 24%. This applies to anything that you shoot, and anybody on your team that is inflicting damage will deal more damage. So it just helps with taking down bosses much more quickly. Combat fitness. This I definitely took up to rank 6 to maximize the toughness of the character. You get plus 10% health and shields at rank 1. You get some melee damage at rank 2. Doesn't really matter. Another plus 15% max health and max shields at rank 3, so 25%. And then you get an additional 25% health and shields at rank 4. Pick that over the melee damage, definitely for this particular setup, because it's not a melee character. You don't need additional melee damage. That's just dumb. So you got plus 50% health and shields. Now, unlike the Human Soldier, I actually leveled the combat fitness past rank 4. At rank 5, I took the defensive positioning to increase your regen delay reduction in cover by 100%. So this causes your shields to recharge sooner when you are sitting in cover. This also gives you an additional 50 points of damage resistance while you are sitting in cover. So combine that with fortification, just from being active, you get 100 points of damage resistance just from sitting in cover. So you are taking half damage when you are sitting in cover. And then at rank 6, I did the hold the line. You get the additional 200 points of damage resistance when you are at 30% or less health. This is definitely the option over close quarters momentum, which gives you more melee damage. So you've got defensive positioning, 50 points of damage resistance in cover. You've got fortification, which gives you 50 points of damage resistance all the time. And then when you stand still for 5 seconds, you get another 50 points of damage resistance. So you've got 150 points of damage resistance from sitting in cover, and sitting in cover long enough to get that to get that ramping damage resistance bonus. So you're actually quite tanky when sitting in cover. And then if you're sitting there and you're actually getting out DPS because there's just so many bad guys shooting at you or hurting you, you get a big damage resistance buff, another 200 points on top of the 150 that you already have when you are low health. So it just makes this character extremely tanky when you are sitting in cover. So that means that you have to play this guy very unconventionally. And I say unconventionally because I'm used to weaving in and out, using soft cover, using right and left hand advantage, not really using hard cover very much. So this character is a little bit wonky for me to play because I have to remind myself every 10 seconds or so, get into cover and actually use hard cover. I have to actually mentally tell myself that every time because this guy is a lot tougher when you sit in cover with this particular build. And because you've maximized the weapon potential of the gun as well as the handling of the gun through the accuracy and stability bonus in Fortify, or possibly even in rank 6 of munitions training as well, you can essentially put any gun on this guy. He's a weapons platform. Put anything on him and it will work. For the gameplay, I went with these two weapons. I had a Zalkin, a Siphon variant particularly, because regenerating health from a low health threshold is absolutely fantastic. Being able to regenerate health by shooting enemies, even during a gunfight, greatly increases the survivability of this character. And you'll actually see it in the gameplay where I'm taking on multiple bad guys at the same time, and they're all shooting me while I'm in cover, but they can't kill me because I have so much damage resistance from sitting in cover, and I'm regenerating enough health from shooting them back as well. So they have a tough time taking me down. And the Sidewinder was just kind of a backup for if I ran out of ammo with the Zalkin, which I believe happened a couple times in the gameplay. So you'll see that going on. The mods for both of them, just magazine capacity and barrel mods to increase the damage and magazine size. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. But the main gun that you use on this character, it can largely be anything. It could be any of these assault rifles. You could do a Valkyrie, a Halberd, maybe not a Falcon, a Revenant. You could do a Sandstorm, possibly even a Sweeper, a Thoken. A Cyclone is really good on this guy, especially with those stability and accuracy bonuses from Fortification or possibly even munitions training in the passive. A Siphon variant of Cyclone is fantastic. The Zalkin, you see it in the gameplay, is pretty good. The Matic is quite good. And if you're trying to farm some Avenger points, you could go with the basic M8 Avenger or with the Avenger S. You can use a Soned as well. There's just a lot of options in the assault rifle tree. You could also go with certain machine pistols, the Hurricane, the Roserad, the Charger, or the Charger S. The Equalizer. The Hornet's actually surprisingly good on this guy. The Sidewinder's not too bad either if you can pull the trigger quickly enough. The Talon is kind of quirky of a pick for a character with turbocharge, but it's actually quite good. And the Predator S actually wouldn't necessarily be a terrible choice, but there's definitely better ones. And you could even put on certain sniper rifles. I wouldn't really recommend the single shot ones like the Ishare, for example, but something like a Valiant, an Indra, or possibly even a Vanquisher, but definitely an Incisor or a Raptor wouldn't be half bad. And you could definitely even try out a Viper S rather than the basic Viper. To make use of turbocharge, for example. And then shotguns, not really many choices, but the Piranha would actually be extremely powerful on this guy up close, especially with a Siphon variant, for example. You could even do something like a Rieger carbine just for funsies. But, I mean, the list is nearly endless, the guns that you can put on this character with this particular character build. And then the same extends to both equipment and boosters. For equipment in the gameplay, I went with the multi-capacitor to give me, again, a shield regen delay reduction, increases shield regeneration delay reduction by 100%. So couple that with the shield regeneration delay reduction in cover from the combat fitness passive, and the shields start regenerating very, very quickly. in periods where you're not taking damage. So that is an extremely nice piece of defensive equipment to equip. You could also go with a shield enhancer to just increase your shields by another 30%, or possibly even a stronghold package if you have one of those to increase your shields and shield regeneration delay. But if you're going for a more offensive kind of setup, you can do something like an assault loadout or whatever, or a guerrilla upgrade. Basically, whatever gun you're using, just put on the appropriate rail amp for those. If you're using a shotgun, you could go with a shock trooper upgrade even to give yourself one more grenade. You could possibly even go with a ward fighter package to increase your gun damage and your grenade damage. But like I said, largely, if you're going for a bit more offensive flair, just go with a rail amp, like an assault rifle rail amp or a pistol rail amp, or things like that, just to give your guns a flat 20% damage bonus. Not really any other picks necessary for equipment on this character. Boosters, on the other hand, you could go with just about anything here. If you want to go for even more tankiness, throw on a cyclonic modulator, especially a grade 2 or a grade 3. For the gameplay, I threw on a grade 2 cyclonic modulator. That's super handy. You could also do something like an ammo capacity mod so that you don't have to visit ammo boxes so much. These are extremely handy on guns that you're just spraying bullets everywhere, or if you manage to find yourself shooting a lot, an ammo capacity mod is super helpful. You could possibly even go with something like a targeting VI if you're very good at nailing those weak points or nailing those headshots. But the generic ones, again, if you're going for a more offensive-oriented setup, pick a rail amp. Any grade will do, and also as well as an ammo type to get a little bit more weapon damage, but also have your ammo do some kind of elemental effect. For the gameplay, as I said, I went with a Cyclonic Mod 2, and I just threw on Incendiary Ammo 1 just for funsies. I didn't really know what else to throw on, but there's several times in the gameplay where I'm out of ammo, and I really wished I threw on an ammo capacity mod instead. So you'll see that happening quite a bit. There's literally nothing in this power section that is worth putting on this particular build. You can definitely use some experience enhancers as you're leveling this character up to help you to help level him up more quickly, so that you can put more points into his skills. But largely cyclonic mods, ammo capacity, targeting VI, any of the rail amps depending on what gun you're using, and any of the ammo boosters depending on which one you prefer. That's pretty much it. He has no way of detonating combos. He has no detonator power for detonating combos. So the ammo type is just whichever you want to hurt more. If you want to do a little bit better damage against armored bosses and sub bosses, or if you want to strip shields off of bosses and sub bosses better, the ammo type is largely up to you. As I said, it's largely for the increase in weapon damage, especially if you're using a weapon rail amp. So that's it for the detailed look at the character build. As I said, it's actually quite tanky, because if we go into the character selection, he's got a fair bit of health and shields. He gets 755 health and 415 shields. That's not great, but it's pretty decent. The health value is pretty decent. Combine that with all the damage reductions, damage resistance points that he gets from Fortify being active, from sitting in cover, and from standing still for a while. This character can be quite tanky, especially if you're throwing a cyclonic mod and even something like a shield booster for equipment, or even a multi-capacitor to help your shields regen more, sooner between firefights. So that's it for this look at the character build. The next part is gonna be some gameplay. If you want to check that out, there'll be a link in the description below. Feel free to click on it. If you found this video informational and helpful, and you like the idea of this build, or you've tried this build and it works really well for you, feel free to let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, just give it a like. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer content. I try to upload every Tuesday. In the meantime, this has been Mobius Y. Thanks very much for watching. I will see you on the battlefield. Good luck, Apex agents.